So another episode of Travel and Tours is upon us. So welcome to Travel and Tours. I am Vera Philip. Today we're not looking at a place where you can actually visit, but we're looking at a place that had potential. A place that definitely had people visiting, but now has been deserted. And this place is in Australia. We're taking a look at a place called Lake Hillier, which is a small, highly saline lake on the Middle Island. It also happens to be the largest island in Western Australia's Recherche archipelago off the coast of Esperance. Now, for years, it became one of the world's most recognizable natural wonders because of its extraordinary bubblegum pink color. Now, we're going to take a look at what this place looks like. It has a striking pink lake sitting almost directly beside the deep blue Southern Ocean. Now, there's an important update, however, for 2026, which is that Lake Hillier is currently not reliably pink, but we'll come to that. Now, a major rainfall had happened in 2022 that had diluted the lake's salinity, causing the famous color to fade, which is something we also talked about when we're talking about the famous pink lake as well in Senegal. Now, this tourism Western Australia says the pink color is subject to natural changes, obviously, and cannot currently be guaranteed. However, scientists expect the color to return as evaporation increases salinity, but there is no predictable date for that recovery. So until that recovery happens, Lake Hillier is not a place that has a pink color where you can definitely visit. But of course, this place exists, and this place has existed for a really long time, and of course, this place is definitely going to return to its original color as predicted by the scientists. Now let's talk about where it is. Lake Hillier is on the Middle Island, which is approximately 11 kilometers off the coast of Cape Red National Park in Western Australia. It is the nearest major tourism center in Esperance, approximately about 130 kilometers away by the most direct land and sea air access routes. Although the lake itself is on an offshore land, you really do not have any road access to this lake. You can only see it from above. Now, the setting is spectacular. There's a dense eucalyptus forest. There's also the white sand. There's a pink lake. There's a narrow strip of vegetation, and there is a Southern Ocean. So the lake itself is about approximately 600 meters long and 250 meters wide. Now, this lake did not just happen, right? It definitely has its history, and we're definitely going to be going down to the history of Lake Hillier. Now, the history of Lake Hillier, I just want us to see the pink color as we talk about the beautiful Lake Hillier. Now, as I said before, you need to always go. You can see this place from up. There is no road access to this place. Now, in 1802, we had a Matthew Flinders discover this lake. It was the first recorded European observation of Lake Hillier, dated 15th of January in 1802. Now, the British navigator Matthew Flinders, while exploring Australia's southern coastline aboard HMS Investigator, climbed to the highest point on Middle Island. Now, from the summit, he spotted an unusual body of water below. It appeared rose color. So Flinders recorded the discovery in his journal, making it one of the earliest documented accounts of the lake. Remember, this happened in 1802. Now, why is it even called Lake Hillier in the first place? It's because it's believed to have been named after William Hillier, a crew member aboard the Investigator who died of that century during the expedition in 1803, which is a year after it was discovered by Flinders. So behind the strange pink lake, it's actually a human story of exploration, illness, and even loss. Now, we also have the salt story related to this Lake Hillier. When Flinders and his crew investigated the lake, they discovered something else remarkably. Now, it was extremely salty, which is also something we noticed while we're looking at the pink lake in Senegal. Now, salt deposits were collected from the lake and used by the expedition. So Flinders returned to Middle Island in 1803 and again considered collecting salt from the lake for his ship. Later, commercial attempts were made to exploit the salt. Now, in 1889, Edward Andrews investigated the possibility of commercial salt production and spent roughly a year working the deposits with his sons. Now, salt mining subsequently took place on the island, but eventually failed, among other reasons because of concerns about the quality and toxicity of the salt. So there's also the question, why is this lake pink? Now, this is where the science gets fascinating, because Lake Hillier is hypersaline, meaning it contains an extraordinarily high concentration of salt. Now, one thing these both lakes have in common, aside the fact that they are pink colors, is also the high amount of salt concentration that is available here. Scientists have also identified salt-loving microorganisms, including halophilic bacteria in the lake's environment. Also, pigments have been produced by these organisms that can contribute to the pink and red appearance. Now, earlier explanations often focus heavily on the saline, but research has also shown that the microbial community is more complex than it simply explains itself or suggests. Now, Lake Hillier is on a remote, environmentally sensitive island rather than beside a normal tourist route, which I've already said that to get here you have to go on air. The traditional tourist experience has therefore been viewing it from the air rather than simply driving up and walking onto the shore. So, scenic flight operations based in Esperance have offered flights over Lake Hillier. Fly Esperance currently advertises scenic flights over the region and operates year-round. However, because the lake's color cannot currently be guaranteed, operators may adjust what they show passengers. So you're going to go to this place, but you definitely might not be seeing the pink color anymore. Now, Tourism Western Australia specifically notes that when Lake Hillier isn't displaying its famous color, scenic flights may also instead showcase other pink and rainbow colored lakes around Esperance. So it's not the only one with pink color, there are other ones as well. Now, the flight experience you would have, you can always fly over Lake Hillier from this place, the Middle Island itself, the Recherche Archipelago, the Southern Ocean, and the Cape Arid National Park, including the Esperance coastline and even other pink and rainbow lakes. And that's all we can bring to you today on, of course, Travel and Tours. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, this is definitely Lake Hillier, the pink lake that we have in Australia, and this is one place that we both have discovered today on the show. Thank you for joining us. My name is Vera Philip, and coming up next is news on the hour. Don't go anywhere.